welcome to class tonight. Any questions before we get started? Good. Okay, we'll continue right on. No, but seriously, any questions before we get started?
No.
Okay, I used to be a science teacher, so I love questions. So if you have any,
I remember this one back when she was
nice.
little teen.
This is going to be really cool because I usually give little bits of information at each visit. And this way I get to lay out everything about what chiropractic is and what you can hope to get out of it. I think you'll be really interested. So prepare yourself. You're likely to walk away a little bit different today because I'm going to come over here because otherwise I'm going to be standing there with my butt facing you guys. Oh, it's weird on that side. No, I have to be over here. That's my side. That's my side. We're going to remind you of some awesome, powerful things about your body, particularly the intelligence that runs your body. You're going to get introduced to some principles of life, health, healing, vitality, and adaptogenesis. Ooh, that's a fun word. I saw those eyebrows go.
Yeah.
Ooh. The creation of greater adaptability to stress. Whoa. Okay, because stuff out there is not getting any less stressful. So we need to get stronger in here. And that's what that adaptogenesis is about. And about how your lifestyle could affect the style of your life. Very cool. I love this look on people's faces. Last week I had a couple people, they were like, I don't know what this guy's talking about. So what's the purpose of the chiropractic and the adjustment? It's probably not what you think it is. It definitely wasn't what I thought it was at the beginning. I found myself in a chiropractor's office after my mom dragged me in after a car crash. I was a med student to be an emergency room doctor when my mom dragged me into the chiropractor. I had taught science, I had been an EMT on the rescue squad, and here I was in med school getting dragged into a chiropractor's office. And I sat in that office with my arms crossed, with my legs crossed, with my eyes crossed, until he started talking science to me. And Dr. Stein started to explain some things about how my body worked. And then I started to unfold, and by the end of that, I was on the edge of my seat, like, tell me more. And by the end of a week and a half, about 5 adjustments into my 5 first adjustments of my life, I'm like, Dr. Stein, where do I need to go to learn how to do this? And the following week, I called up MCV and was like, hey guys, thanks for having me in your med program. I'm gonna go be a chiropractor. And there was that stunned silence on the other end of the line. And I was contemplating everything about my life in that moment of like, and then she goes, oh, that's great. I go to my chiropractor every week. Good luck with that. You're gonna do great. Aww. And it was like, oh. So I can, like all of this was pivoting in that very moment. It could have gone this way or this way. And it happened to be that random individual at the registrar at MCV happened to say just what I needed to hear to keep me on the path that I had discovered. So it's likely not what you think, and it's definitely not what I initially thought. So I was there because I got in a car crash, and I did not find out about the depth of chiropractic and the philosophy of chiropractic until I was in school. So roughly 5 to 10% of your nerves feel stuff. Only about 5% feel pain. So right now, I want you to feel what your nose hairs feel like. What? Or how about your spleen? Can you tell me how your liver's feeling today? No, because they're on autopilot. You don't have sensors in there that keep you, telling you what's going on. You have that on autopilot. So 10% of your nerves feel stuff. So here I was leaving med school to go to chiropractic school because I thought I understood 100% when I only understood about 10%. And then I learned that 90% of our nerves are busy doing stuff that keeps our body alive. Whoa! And that was way important. So here I am all in at 5 to 10%, and then I learned about the 100%, and it blew me away. And that's what I'm bringing to you guys today, because most people understand about pain and injury and accidents and traumas and stuff like that, but they don't understand about what our nerve system is, our neurospinal system. So we're going to get into that a little bit, because I think it's fascinating. Now, this is the founder of chiropractic. Chiropractic was discovered in September of 1895. So this stuff has been around for a long time. And this stuff has stood the test of time for over 100, almost 130 years this year. And Dr. Palmer said that the principles of chiropractic should be known and utilized in the growth of the infant and continue as a safeguard throughout life. As an infant, My specialty, and if you look around, you'll be like, dang, he's right. This is a kid's chiropractic office.
She came when she was little.
Isn't that amazing? How old were you? Like 2?
You were across from TriStar, yeah.
Wow, that goes way back. So I didn't have this cool like technology.
No,
and
we had
stuff
a
like this.
VCR tape.
Yeah.
When she showed us the movie.
I'm gonna apologize to you for that because I knew better.
That was it back then.
Right? A VCR tape.
That was it back then. That's what we had.
So, a safeguard throughout life. To keep your body functioning. To keep it like a car with proper alignment, proper maintenance, so that your car lasts for a long time. And he said the purpose of the adjustment, like I thought the purpose of adjustment was to help me with my pain. And then the founder of chiropractic over 130 years ago said it's to reconnect the physical with the spiritual. Whoa, that goes a little bit deeper than that 10%. One of my mentors, Dr. Arnaud Bernier, he was from Paris, France, and I will not give you my French accent, so I'm just going to read this in my backwoods redneck accent. There is nothing I can do with what is wrong with you. What I can do, however, is address what is right in you. You cannot fight darkness, you must turn on the light. You cannot fight disease, you must turn on the life. To get over this, you need to have more of this. That's really the reality of it. Dr. Jeannie Ohm, she was one of the leaders of the Chiropractic Pediatric Association at the very beginning. In fact, the publication that we have up here is called Pathways Magazine, and this one was edited and developed by Dr. Jeannie Ohm years and years and years ago. Tons and tons of fantastic wellness-based articles, well-being-based articles that are not scare care. It's about bringing you up and uplifting you. And Dr. Jeannie Ohm said, chiropractic offers not the treatment of conditions or the mere easing of symptoms, but instead of a restoration. A restoration. So that's how your body heals. It doesn't repair cells. It grows new ones in this restoration of life and vitality. Dr. Doss, the mindset of removing a blockage to the healing flow of innate rather than just moving a bone that's fixated or stuck comes from a different spiritual place and allows miracles to happen. So if we're removing a blockage to your innate intelligence, everything's going to go up a level. It's like taking a weight out of a boat and then it goes up. It's more buoyant. So that's what we do, is we remove these obstacles that are weighing you down, mostly with your posture and these sort of distortions, so that you can be more upright. It makes sense when I'm like talking about this stuff. This is a slide from one of the other classes, because I teach a whole lot of these sort of classes with a little bit different flair. There's some very core principles in chiropractic. The very first one, the major premise, is talking about intelligence and organization. And it's stated, there's a universal intelligence in all matter that continually gives to it all of its properties and actions, thus maintaining it in existence. So we have an intelligence in our body. We have an intelligence in this universe that's organized. I mean, think about the planets, think about atoms, think about your body, think about your digestion, think about your hair growing. Whoa, isn't that a miracle? So this universal intelligence, there's a lot of examples that I can use, but I like using examples that drew me to science. So one of them is about how things move. And I love this one for around here because most people have no clue about how the tides work. And they work in such a clockwork fashion that you can mathematically figure out what the tides are going to be 100 years from now. And the moon, as it goes around, basically pulls a wave of water all the way around the earth. And high tide, and you'll see that mountain go by, and it's low tide. And that's how the tides work. It's like pulling this bulge of water around. We have how our planets move around our star, the sun. And even that's not the way that it moves, because our sun is in motion. So all these planets are going around the sun, trailing them all the way through our galactic orbit. Organized. It's intelligent. It's organized. It's such a clockwork organization, right down to the molecules of the atom. It's all organized and it's all intelligent. And your body is part of this galactic universal intelligence that is organized. So, some historical figures. I like this one. It's one of my favorite slides because it pulls in some of the eggheads that I really like Nikola Tesla. Ever heard of that guy? Okay, he was a physics guy, and he was like all kinds of stuff. It really, really neat electromagnetic whatnots and energy and studying that. But back in 1930, okay, so almost 100 years ago, he said, if you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. Energy, frequency, vibration. Hang on to that for a sec. So Albert Einstein, a couple of years later, says, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Now, you know who Albert Einstein was, right? Big hair, brilliant guy. Okay, D.D. Palmer, that's the dude that we saw from previous that discovered chiropractic. He said that life is the expression of tone, and tone is expressed in function. Now we're going to go, okay, 1930, 1938, 1895, we're going to jump way back in time, okay? Hippocrates, have you heard of the Hippocratic Oath, first do no harm? So Hippocrates, the father of medicine, repeat that, the father of medicine said, look well to the spine for the cause of disease. What? Bet you never heard that before. You might have heard it on that video way back then. I'd have to go back and watch that.
I'm sure it was probably on there, but I don't remember.
All right. Yoda did not say this, or Yoda said this. That's not Yoda. That's like Baby Yoda, right? But it's such a cool picture. And we're talking about light and energy, so I'm like, okay, I'm going to take that. Now, I'm a child of the 70s, so Yoda was like, he was like very inspirational in my life. Still is, right? He said, luminous beings we are. He said a lot of stuff, but this is the one that I want to pull out of there because luminous beings we are, okay? Luminous, light, okay? Light is energy, electromagnetic waves, luminous, lighting up, okay? So when we look at light, we see with our eyes are dialed in to see the colors of the rainbow and this little bit called visible light, spectrum, right? And if we take a prism and we split it up, we take that white light and break it into this piece. But there is way more light that's invisible that we can't see, like heat. You know, like that movie back in the 80s, Predator, where Arnold Schwarzenegger and the alien could see the heat coming off his body? Because he was lit up. He was a luminous being. So his body was lit up on this red zone. We can't see it, but that alien had a calibration to his eyeball that could dial it over here to see this. You know, butterflies and birds and things, they can see it in ultraviolet. And they can see a little bit more over here than we can see. Stuff that's invisible to us. And why is this important? Well, beaming off of your body, thermography, heat, this radiation, this luminosity, this luminous being you are. So we're illuminating this room. If we dialed our eyeball to the right calibration, it would be so bright looking at you that I couldn't look straight at you. Okay? So light. And why is light so important? So that spark, the spirit, the soul, lux, that's the Greek for this light energy, life force, let there be light. Okay, so what we're going to watch here are 9 eggs being fertilized in vitro fertilization. When the sperm and the egg come together, there's a flash of light. They know when they have fused because they explode with light. And what they found is that explosion of light was so indicative of how strong the embryo was that they used that as a criteria for selecting which ones they're going to implant for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, right? So we start out as a flash of light. And the stronger the light, the stronger you are. The stronger the light, the stronger the embryo. Okay? We're going to keep on with that. So the spark is lit from that day one of the egg and the sperm come together. It takes 17 days and 6 divisions. So we fuse together into 1, and then we split to 2, and then to 4, and then to 8, to 16, right? You remember that sort of stuff, right? Remember that from school? No, not at all, right? Okay, so 8 of these splits, and you're like growing a baby, right? So 8 of those, 6 of those splits, 17 days, and we've got a backbone. First thing that shows up that we can look at under the microscope is the rudimentary brain and little backbones. And all of that has to be laid in place for you to develop normally, because we need all of this in place for all of the organs to form and the wiring to lay it out to make sure they can all work. I love this little picture. This one is such a easy, basic picture to understand. We've got the brain up top, and we've got the spinal cord running down through it. I use the analogy of the knight in shining armor with this one. Because if you think about that knight in shining armor, he's all soft and squishy on the inside, right? And he's got that hard protective covering, armor. And it's got little holes that the arms can come out, and so you can see. And there's weak points. So they're weak points. And if like you get bashed up and hit and crushed and all that sort of stuff, and your plates of armor squish on the squishy stuff in the inside, that's not good. That's not good. Okay. So the soft squishy stuff on the inside is you, and those bones are protecting it. They're protecting it because this wire from your brain down to your body is sending data back and forth, back and forth. Like right now, I'm absorbing data from my environment, and my brain is processing it. And then I'm going to do something with it, or not. But we've got to get clear data in, and we've got to be able to process it and get the data back out again. Those are called mental impulses. Mental impulses are the electrical energy, the light that's firing, that's like fiber optics that carries data. Neat, light that carries data. Protected by your backbones, we got that part. Subject to stress overload. Okay, knight in shining armor that gets beat up. Got it. Now getting beat up, like stress, you can get beat up mentally, you can get beat up physically, you can get beat up toxically by the things you eat or that you don't eat. I mean, there's all kinds of ways out there that you can get beat up. So we're about making it stronger here so that we can adapt better out there. Toxins, traumas, and thoughts, those stress overloads, they choke off the wires. When the plates get crushed, it's like, well, the soft squishy stuff gets squished on the inside. That's not cool. Hinders the data in transfer. We can't get data in, we can't get data out. So we can't get information from our environment to act. And then we're in shock. Hinders data transfer. Now there's a big word, it's not that big, it has 3 parts. It's not that big a word. It's called subluxation. Subluxation is what chiropractors are supposed to be addressing. Subluxation has 3 parts, like submarine has 2 parts. Submarine, below water, submarine. Okay, subluxation, we got the sub part. Lux, we already know about that light energy that carries data and information. Ation is a state of being. So when we squeeze on the system that carries our light and our energy, well, that's like a dim light bulb. And that's kind of what I titled the class tonight, was like, don't be a dim light bulb. Because when you squeeze on this, you don't have a vibrancy in life and energy to make all your necessary functions happen, for you to heal at the rate that you're supposed to heal. So love this one. I just love the new technology that's come out, because we've been talking about stuff like this, chiropractors, for 120 some years. And now they've got these motion MRIs where, in just a moment, I'm going to animate this one. This will show the brain and the spinal cord and all the bones that go down in the neck, and we'll see a zoom in on this side over here that'll show all the way down. And what we're seeing here is the heartbeat and the rhythm it sets up in the brain to pump circulation up to the brain. So here we go, we're going to animate. So with every heartbeat, your brain jiggles. Your brain jiggles with the pulse of the heartbeat. Now we're going to come down to this picture right over here in just a second after this dude gets off the thing. Right there. And it shows the waveform as the heart beats. You ever had a headache that's so bad it goes gut-dum, gut-dum, gut-dum into your head? Well, something in there has disturbed that wave flow of that motion. And it goes right through the center of that spinal column. Brain jiggling. I love it. These are like the experts talking about brain jiggling. I know, it's hypnotic, isn't it?
Yeah. Looks like a seashell.
It looks like what?
I said it looks like a seashell.
Oh, wow. Okay, going back to that physics, like Nikola Tesla was talking about how everything in life is built off of the same sort of plan, that snail shell. Everything develops like that. It's cool that you would pick that out. So, one of my favorite metaphors, and this is a very, very helpful metaphor in chiropractic, it's called the safety pin cycle. So remember we talked about the data going into our brain, and then we act on it, and more data coming in, and acting on it coming in. Well, when the knight's shining armor gets dinked, and we have an interruption in that flow of data, that's called subluxated. That's when there's less light energy getting around the cycle there, and we have a disconnect. Okay? So where is that disconnect? That's what we've got to find. That's what we've got to find. Now, this dude right here was the first guy that dissected out the entirety of the nervous system. My wife and I went to the Science Museum this past summer, and they had the exhibits at the Science Museum of all the dissected bodies.
Wow.
I mean, dozens of dissected bodies. And it was just,
She likes stuff like that.
oh my gosh, it was so artfully done. We have to do 2 years of human dissection in chiropractic college. So what we did compared to what the professional dissecting anatomist did, it was so elegant. My wife and I spent about an hour and a half walking through it, looking
Probably
at
would have
just.
spent 3 hours.
I took my massage therapist with me. You know Stephanie Reeves?
Yeah.
She and I went up there, and we spent over 4 hours up there.
I'm done 1 hour too.
Taking notes, taking pictures, studying it, talking about people that we work on together, of like, ooh, this is Barbara, ooh, that's Bill, that, and it's like, and it was so refreshing because I was coming at it from neurology and bones, she was coming at it from muscle, so we had this whole neuromuscular sort of perspective. Oh gosh, it was amazing. So this guy's like pointing directly to a spot. So where's the disconnect specifically? So here we have a stack of back bones, and remember the weak spot in the armor where the squishy stuff can get pinched? Well, we have little spots too where the nerves come out of the armor where they can get pinched. And so here we see 2 bones that are squashed together. And here they're not squashed, and here they're not squashed. So we got good flow in and out of data. Here is where that data is suffering. Whatever's downstream from this business is not going to function right. It just can't. And it only takes if you take a coin out of your pocket, a dime, and you set that on a nerve, it will reduce its function by 90%. That's the pressure changes. Now our body is real smart. You'll see this quote in here. Our body is smart, way smarter than we are, and we're not that dumb. So our body will see this and go, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go like this so I can open up that hole a little bit, so I can fire that nerve. And then you see people like, hey doc, you gotta get me straightened up. And you know what? They are adapting to stress in the best way that they can to keep that nerve. And it's like, doc, if I walk like this, I'm all right. I'm like, is that all right? What if your car was bent out of shape like that and you're like, I want to go cross country, I want to drive cross country? It ain't gonna work. So where is it being squished off? Exactly. Where is it being squashed? So when I talked about nerves and like the 5 to 10% that feel stuff, most of the nerves are on autopilot. And again, another class, this one's focused a little bit more on upper neck sort of stuff, but what I want to see is this picture here. So we have speed them up nerves and slow them down nerves. So our body is like, got the gas pedal and the brake pedal, and we got a foot on each one of them at the same time. And as long as we keep the brakes and the gas at the same point, then we're gonna have optimum function. So the dark greenish ones and the yellow ones, the greenish ones are the slow them down ones. And we notice that like with the heart, we've got slow them down nerves coming from way up here, and we got speed them up nerves from coming way down here. So our wiring is extraordinarily organized and intricate. Amazing, that wiring. And each organ has a set of group of nerves that run it. And we have this one up at the very top that we look at this one and we go, oh my gosh, you know, that one's connected to my heart. That's connected to my lungs. It goes down to my guts, all in my belly, all the way down to some of my favorite parts, all the way at the bottom. Everything's hooked up. Everything's got to be connected. Otherwise, it's not going to work. We need that electrical energy carrying data to go through. And here's the end result of that. You ever heard of your immune system? Yeah. You never heard of your immune system?
You know what's crazy?
Well, it's crazy. I love crazy.
Our eyes with our brain, if our brain knew about our eyes, we would go blind.
Right, because our
That's
immune
such a
system
crazy thing to
would
me.
eat our eyes.
Mhm.
Okay,
That's such a crazy thing to me.
it would recognize it as
And would
non-you.
attack them.
Watch. Okay, here we go. That's what's happening right here. Not with an eyeball, but with bacteria. Okay, there's a white blood cell. It's literally chasing down. Look. Ah! So invaders to our body, we freaking eat. I love it. I'm glad my body doesn't know about my eyeballs too.
Yeah. I
Watch.
know.
Watch this. It's gonna catch it. It's gonna catch it, and it's gonna go. Ow!
Oh God.
Literally ate it. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, that stuff interests me so much.
And that's a single cell. A single cell. And you've got like 80 quadrillion cells in your body. I don't even know how many zeros that is behind that. Cool stuff? Cool stuff?
Oh, I'm having a ball over here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, some people have a spirit animal. This is my spirit car.
I had a stick.
Like,
Did ya? Did
It
ya?
was an 82.
Oh, this is the 1973 model.
They just pop up like that.
Oh, I know. They just roll right up, don't they? Mm-hmm. So, high performance requires high maintenance. How many of these do you see on the road now?
not many.
Right, the ones that you
Makes me
do.
sad, but I love seeing them though when I do.
Me too. I point them out
I'm like,
every time they drive
let me
by.
take a picture of your car, please.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? They're becoming more and more affordable because you're looking at prices of like new cars, and you're like, dude, I could buy 2 Corvettes for that,
Yeah.
for that Honda Accord. So how do we tell if you're subluxated? How do we tell if you're bent out of shape? Well, just like that Corvette, we'll throw you up on the rack and we'll look to see if your front end's out of alignment, if your rear end's out of alignment, if your head's not on straight or if it is, if your struts are off and your wheels are out of balance. I call it the 136 point
Always
check.
have to adjust her because one leg was always longer than the other.
I hope you remember which one originally
I
it
don't.
was. It's gonna be fun to see.
Don't.
It's really fun sometimes when there's like a whole crowd of people because we'll go over here and adjust. And particularly people who've never been adjusted before, they get to watch people as we go through and we look at the alignment, we feel the muscles, we look at the leg length, we check the glide and pivot of all the motions. So that's what we do is we go through physically and look at the body and see where it's been out of shape because that car that has that alignment is going to use energy less efficiently, meaning it's going to burn more gas and you're going to wear parts out faster. I keep meaning to blow that one up so that when it comes up, it's just like the whole screen. That's a beautiful picture. I love that. So there's an African proverb that says, the wind does not break a tree that bends. So that bamboo blowing in the wind, it's going to take a lot to knock that down because it's highly adaptable to the stress of the wind. Bruce Lee, another one of my favorite mentors, said pliability. Flexibility, pliability, the ability to be soft and movable and respond to stress is life. Rigidity is death. Pliability is life. The ability to move and adapt to stresses is life. Rigidity is death. Whether you're talking about body, mind, or spirit. So we want to help you be pliable so that you can adapt to all that garbage out there. Mm-hmm. Oh, this is a big one for people. Remember the 10%? 5 to 10% we feel stuff? Okay. Chiropractic is not designed to make you instantly feel better. It's designed to make you instantly heal better. Because yes, we're working with the 5 to 10% that feel stuff, but we're also working with the 90% that helps you function and heal better. And here's what healing is. This is cellular healing. This is, over the course of a month, an injury that's healing. And it's not that you take those individual cells that are broken and reform them back. You shed the broken ones and you regrow new ones. That's how it is. Once a cell is damaged, it's done. You make a new one. You make a new one. And this is the process. So this shows in rapid sequence here, all the way up to 30 days or so of that healing. And that is true healing right there. It's cellular replacement. And this is cellular division. This is one cell splitting into two. And I love it because the seagulls come out. Like we take them and we make these awesome little seagulls and then they fly up here and then those fly down there. Those are our chromosomes, the DNA in your body. And so we duplicate it And then we split it, and now there was one, and now there's two. And that's how we heal. We need to have good communication and clear communication to make it happen. We need to have really good ingredients, because the better ingredients you have, the better house you're going to build. And you live in this body. So we want to make sure that you use good materials to grow your cells. I was teaching a nutrition class over at the middle school years ago. And I said, you make new cells from what you eat. And the boy raised up his hand. He says, are you telling me that my body's made out of hot dogs? And I'm like, oh, do you eat hot dogs every day? He was like, I eat hot dogs every day. And I'm like, isn't it amazing that your body can take that hot dog and make new earwax, nose hairs, and toenails out of hot dogs? That's amazing. That's a miracle of life right there. He was blown away. He sat there like,
That's what
for the rest
Taylor got
Let's
today.
do that.
That's what Taylor got today. It was a hot dog.
And then that baby thing was crazy because I got in the planner because I don't want babies. The very beginning of babies.
Yeah.
Dr. Strauss, the body's real smart. Smarter than we are, and we're not that dumb. I love that. Restore the life connection. Get you plugged back in. So we check to see if you're unplugged. We plug you back in. We check it often. The more the better at the beginning. And then we figure out what minimum it's going to take to keep you plugged in. Because a lot of stuff happens out there. And I can go through and I can look through your circuit panel and go, oh my goodness, we've got a circuit that's tripped right there. And I go, and pop that sucker back on. And then you go back out there and don't do anything about what tripped the circuit in the first place. It's like going back out there and you need to unplug a couple things and maybe plug in some Energy Star stuff that's not drawing so much amps. You know, you only got a certain amount of energy before you crash at the end of the day, right? Yeah. So we want to make the most of it. It's like that car with a bad alignment uses gas up faster. Your body with a bad alignment uses gas up faster. So how do you receive care in this office? You can receive care as an individual, as a couple, or a whole family. It's really fun when a whole families, like multiple whole families, come rolling up in here at the same time. Because that is my vision of how it was 25 years ago. Is kids, like Dee Dee Palmer said, it's a safeguard throughout life. Because there's not many things that are so practical as getting adjusted. And all you have to do is get here to receive the adjustment, and your body's going to function better when you go out there. So after tonight, we have no appointments. It's all walk-in, first come, first serve. You just come in, you check in at the computer up here at the front desk, and you jump in line, and you get checked regularly. We check you a lot in the first month, and then taper it off as your body gets stronger. If you want to expedite the process, we can auto do your monthly membership to streamline the care. That way you come in, you check in, and you don't have to stop and do transactions and stuff. And I got to tell you, people that do that love it because you just saunter in, check in, and go right on back. And it's just so low maintenance. It's so easy. So I've been talking a lot about connection and this connectivity of the nerve system. I think this is the last video. I think one more slide after this one. But our bodies yearn for connection. In our minds, our bodies, our spirits, and right down to these single cells, we're yearning for connection. So what we're going to see are two nerve cells, and they're reaching out for each other. They're reaching out, and they're expanding out, and they're looking for connection. And when they find the connection, you'll see it just form up, and there it is right there. And that is what's called neurogenesis. You don't get to grow many new brain cells, but you sure enough can make better connections between them. And that's what's at the heart of chiropractic, is that connection and that connectivity. So wrapping up, last slide. Stress overwhelm disconnects the body's ability to adapt effectively. The adjustment restores that clarity to the neurospinal system, and a clear neurospinal system is essential if you express in your best. Whoa! Any questions now?
I was enjoying myself.
Right?
She loves this.
Okay, so I do this class every week, and I add a little bit different flair to it. And so we've had a number of people that I've been taking care of for years. Like one gal came last week that's been coming over 20 years. And you wouldn't know this person now if you knew them 20 years ago. They were violent, they fought, they picked fights, they looked for trouble. And now, and she said this to the people that were sitting in here, like, I'm a different person. I am so much more at ease now. And really that's what it's about. It's about making this body function out there with the greatest amount of ease. And one of the founders, Dr. Palmer, said that there's very few things, and I said this, very few things are as practical as the amount of time it takes to come get adjusted and the benefits you get from it. And the proof is in the pudding, people. It's been around since 1895, and there's not a lot that's been
My
around
dad
since.
doesn't brag on many doctors, but he's one of your biggest fans.
Cool. I love it. I've been to 132 chiropractors myself. And to find a really good one, it's challenging. It is challenging. And so I'm up to 132 and I'm looking for 133. So if you know another good one, let me know. Okay, well, let's head around to the other side. Both of you guys getting adjusted?
No, just Taylor.
This stuff here, I'm going to take that. And can I borrow that? Or Ava? Thank you.